In this video, we're going to take a look at an orange sparkling ink by Diamine, their Caramel Sparkle. As always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. Also, down in the description is a link to the orange playlist, so if you want to see more of them, you can check that out there. I'm an ink guy, and let's get into the first writing sample done on 90 GSM Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. As has been the case, because of the shimmery bits playing tricks with the cameras, I have to hold this at an angle, and I'm going to talk about all of these in general. That top is obviously not done with a stub, but in general, we have no feather spread, halo sheen, excuse me. We do actually get some shading in the medium, but it is completely covered up by the shimmers that I have to kind of keep under control in how I show this in the camera. The extra fine took 6 seconds to dry. The medium took 12 seconds to dry. The scrubby says we get color variation, and again, it really does. It kind of shows up. I think the medium shows a little bit better. The very dark ink helps offset here some of the sparkle that's going on. Not bad. I really like it here. I like it here, not so much here. To have a range of experience with this ink, all of the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Noodler's Naponset with a music nib was inked up, used for a day, and used to take the notes for this video. The next writing sample is done on 52 GSM Tomoe River. No bleeding, no ghosting. Now, I know it would come up that in general, you say you want really wet and broad pens for this, and you see shimmer come through in the writing, and that's because I'm always priming the pen as I write with these extra fines and mediums with these inks. Our general performance is no feather spread, halo sheen, no shading. The extra fine took 10 seconds to dry. The medium took 19 seconds to dry. The scrubbies are showing no real color variation. We're really not able to get it in the writing. In a smear test, you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. Shimmer just can take control. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down, and then it's put in the water for 10 to 15 seconds. And the shimmer is really there at the bottom and not budging. It's doing pretty okay with that. This, as a chromatography, looks awesome because if you flip it upside down, it really looks like fire. It's amazing. As you move up, you get this yellow, you get this kind of orange, and a bright red at the very top. Now, we're not expecting the ink itself to be very resistant, especially when you look at the second one that was allowed to dry for 10 minutes, and it basically looks the same, showing we're not really going to get some resistance out of this ink. The next writing sample is done on 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. No bleeding, no ghosting. Talking about general performance, they all have no feather spread, halo sheen. You do get to see some of the shading, like the BR in brown is darker, the K in quick is darker. You see that down here, the brown starts darker and works its way lighter, where Fox starts light and works its way dark. So you even get to see some of this shading through the sparkles. The extra fine took 7 seconds to dry, the medium took 15. The scrubby shows color variation. We definitely are seeing shading in the writing despite the sparkles. And the smear test, you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it's actually doing fairly well. Yes, the capital H has a slight bit of blowout in it, but for the most part, it's all very readable and very there. Now, while I'm not a fan of using shimmer inks for note-taking, I think this one would work. You can see just how much shimmer is in this ink as you come across this swatch, and you see the difficulty in photographing it. Water, as we would expect, is completely removing it from the paper. It completely removed it from the pen. Pen flush does everything that water does, nothing more, and the 1/3 bleach solution completely obliterates it. But again, you're not going to need it to get this out of your pen. The last writing sample is done on Franklin Christoph paper. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. Now here I can largely lay it down because this is a more absorbent paper. Again, I screwed up and there's not really a stub at the top. I don't know what went wrong here. Our general performance is no feather spread, halo sheen. We do see shading coming through, and this again, it eats up some of the sparkles, but you can see how great the ink is. Quick goes dark to light to dark. Brown goes dark to light. Fox goes light to dark. Over goes dark to light to dark. It's very nice, 5 seconds to dry. Medium is darker than the extra fine. It has no feather spread, halo sheen. We don't get tons of shading, but we do get some. Brown starts darker, gets lighter, gets darker. Fox goes light to dark to light. Over goes light to dark. And again, the shading is even able to show through the shimmer, 7 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both do show a little bit of color variation. We definitely get it. In a smear test, you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average viscosity was 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Diamine's Caramel Sparkle has a viscosity of 3.04, making this a pretty dry ink, which I think is more a response to all the shimmer that it has to move. Now for the inks tested, the average dry time was 17 seconds, and the realm of normal was 13 to 21 seconds. Diamine's Caramel Sparkle has an average dry time of 10 seconds, meaning it does dry faster than normal. Instead of finding inks that look like Diamine's Caramel Sparkle, I'd prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. So we have to complement both the orange and the gold sparkle that's there, and I went with a Colorverse ink, a turquoise Colorverse ink, Morning Star. If you'd prefer a different complement color, then down in the description are links to those playlists. So what do I think of Diamine's Caramel Sparkle? The shading comes through the sparkles, which is absolutely amazing. It was with this ink I began to wonder if there's such a thing as black sparkles, because I think that would look great here. I would love to see it. I feel like the shimmer is distracting from the ink that it's over in this case, unfortunately. So what nib and pen are going to give the best writing experience with this ink? A broad, wet pen, of course, but I have really come to enjoy the Noodler's Neponset, that music nib, because it's super wet and super broad. Really handles shimmering inks well. I hope you got something out of this video, and in the next video, we're going to take a look at KWZ's Azure No. 5.